Guys, if I was you, I'd have my notifications on for today because I think I'm going to be at my desk all day making you guys NFL free agency updates, and they're just going to be coming more and more and more. So I want to start you guys out with a very interesting rumor I heard, because I know Ravens fans that are watching this video are going to be a little bummed out. There is a very sketchy source that I'm very unsure of, but it's out there, so I'm going to give it to you, that the Jaguars and Ravens are very close to a deal that would send DJ Chark and draft picks to Baltimore for tackle Orlando Brown. The Jaguars are looking to get more protection for their franchise QB. Orlando Brown doesn't want to be a right tackle anymore because left tackles make more money, but unfortunately the Baltimore Ravens have a very reliable left tackle already in Ronnie Stanley. The Ravens are desperate to get an upgrade at the wide receiver position. So this is just a rumor, and I wanted to start this video out with said rumor just so Baltimore Ravens fans could potentially feel a little bit better about the news I'm about to get to you guys. So before we get to the content, I'm giving away a piece of autographed NFL memorabilia of your choice. All you have to do is subscribe and turn on our notifications for this channel, and then comment down below what autographed memorabilia you'd like. So far, I'm getting a bunch of people that wanted Tom Brady autographed football, so we could get to work on that. I'm going to be announcing the winner at the end of free agency, and make sure you follow me on Instagram and Twitter as well, because I'm going to be doing more giveaways over there. Now that we get all that out of the way, break! Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? This is our second video in the past hour, and in the first video I told you guys that there's been a very interesting free agency thus far, because typically a Super Bowl team that wins the Super Bowl typically has all of its players leaving, but most Super Bowl teams that had that happen to didn't include Tom Brady, that was essentially playing the general manager role. You see, usually Bill Belichick would say, hey, you want to leave? That's fine, you can leave, I don't need you. But over here, Tom Brady is taking pay cuts, therefore the rest of the team's taking pay cuts, and he's doing everything he can to keep this nucleus of the Buccaneers together. Now, that is one anomaly. The next anomaly is the fact that for the first time in, I think, 2 decades, we're seeing the New England Patriots be extremely active in free agency. And this also is allowed by the fact that Cam Newton, on one hand, is being paid extremely below market value on his contract. He's only making $14 million this year. They're expecting to see Patrick Chung and Dante Hightower return on the defensive side of the ball, but nevertheless, there are still significant holes that the New England Patriots need to fill. Now, earlier today, I mentioned that the New England Patriots came out and signed Jonnu Smith to fill in that tight end hole that they had, which they desperately needed to. I don't think Kyle Pitts would have fallen to them in the NFL draft, and even if he does, as much of a beast as he seems to be coming out of college, I don't remember the last time a tight end was drafted in the first round that became a consistent Pro Bowl tight end. So signing Jonnu Smith to fill in that hole seems like a very good move from the New England Patriots, and that's nothing against Kyle Pitts. I'm just giving you what history says. Now, on top of that, we're not done. The New England Patriots really needed help in terms of pass rushing as well. And although they have a higher pick this year, they could have potentially drafted Gregory Rousseau with that 15th pick this year. They elected to address the defensive holes that they have in free agency. So the first move I want to bring to your attention is the New England Patriots are signing defensive back Jaylen Mills, who used to be on the Philadelphia Eagles. I believe he was on the Philadelphia Eagles team that beat the New England Patriots in the Super Bowl a few years ago, back before the Eagles decided to dismantle that entire team. Well, they decided to sign defensive back Jaylen Mills to a 4-year, $24 million contract. Now, I understand you might be thinking, why would they sign Jaylen Mills to that deal? Well, to be honest, this is very similar to the deal I told you guys about yesterday, where Taysom Hill signed a 4-year, $140 million deal. This is really a 1-year deal that is going to pay Jaylen around $9 million guaranteed. It could go on for 4 years and $24 million, but the rest of his contract is extremely voidable. Now, it seems like throughout all these moves, it's very easy to tell that Bill Belichick is really trying to install a power running scheme in New England. That's why there's been such an emphasis on making sure that he builds a stout defense. That's why he went out and got Jonnu Smith, who comes from one of the best rushing teams in the entire NFL last year. That's why he went ahead and signed nose tackle Devon Godchow earlier this year, which comes from his coaching tree as well. He played for Brian Flores last year, and it didn't really cost him that much either. We talked about that in the last video. It's also probably why he is so content with Cam Newton as his current quarterback, despite him struggling to throw any good deep passes last year and him being hampered with a shoulder injury, mainly because Cam Newton would be a huge benefit to any offense that is trying to run a power running scheme. But now Bill Belichick desperately needed that big fish, that big splash free agent that would really put his team all together. And boy, did Bill Belichick get his big fish, because the big splash that the New England Patriots made today is by taking in my opinion, a top 10 free agent and signing away Baltimore Ravens pass rusher and linebacker Matthew Judon. You see, the New England Patriots agreed with Matthew Judon, the former Ravens linebacker, on a 4-year, $56 million deal. This includes $32 million guaranteed. Now, this is really fascinating because you don't typically see the Patriots do this. As a matter of fact, Adam Schefter came out and said that the Patriots already have spent their most guaranteed money on free agents in any offseason over the past decade. A huge difference in the way Bill Belichick is conducting business this year. Now, Matthew Judon has always been very solid for the Baltimore Ravens as an outside linebacker / defensive end. This past year alone, he had 6 sacks, 32 solo tackles in 14 games, and throughout his entire career with the Baltimore Ravens, he had 34.5 sacks in about 5 years. He made it to the Pro Bowl in his last 2 years. Now, at the same time, I cannot help but feel like this is a slight overpay for a player that literally only notched 6 sacks last year and 9 tackles for a loss, with 50 combined tackles as well. He's been a really good player for the Baltimore Ravens, but I don't think he's necessarily worth the amount of money he is getting, which is very similar in the ballpark of what Shaq Barrett is getting for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Nevertheless, it still fills a huge position of need for the New England Patriots, who definitely are starting to show a little bit of more urgency in order to build their team as quickly as possible so they could return to contention. Currently, prior to this free agency period, I would say it would have taken the Patriots 3 more years in order to successfully rebuild their team and get to contention once again, but Bill Belichick clearly is trying to expedite that process by doing something he typically never does. He doesn't have the luxury of waiting on his players to develop anymore. He needs as many solid pieces as possible, as quickly as possible. So if you're a Patriots fan, let me know in the comment section down below, what do you guys think about this offseason for you guys so far? It's definitely different because Bill Belichick has spent $146 million so far this offseason, and in his previous 10 seasons, he's spent $400 million combined. Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike, and I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.